Hey everyone! In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the process of assembling your very own stained glass fox kit. This is the project that we are going to be making today. Now, it is possible that the fabrics that are in your kit are slightly different from what you're seeing on the screen here. Whenever I get these kits made, I don't always have the same fabrics available to me every single time, so I often have to pick substitutions. But the process is going to be the same, even if your fabrics look slightly different. So let's start today by talking about what you're going to need to create this project. First, you're going to need an iron. Just a little one is fine, larger is also okay. The important thing is no steam. We don't want to use any steam for today's project. You are also going to need a cutting board and craft knife, optional pair of scissors. The knife will work for the whole project, but you might find some parts a little bit easier to do with a pair of small fabric snips. You will need a pair of tweezers. You will need a pen. And then last but not least, you need the kit. Now the kit has the fabric itself as well as some paperwork. This is your fabric. All of the fabric has been pre-laser cut. However, most of the pieces are still held in place with little tabs. And those tabs are going to be what you're cutting with either the craft knife or the scissors. If I flip this over so that we're looking at the reverse side, what you're seeing now is the black caming. That's all of these little black lines. They're on top of the color. That's this whole piece right here. So the craft knife, you'll see towards the end of the video, I'm going to use the craft knife to cut all of the little tabs because this is a really delicate piece and I don't want to be having to manipulate it too much by using the scissors. However, I personally find the scissors easier to cut all of the other fabrics that are in here, like you can see on the orange and the greens, basically everything else where I want to keep the piece of fabric and not all of the negative space. Like for this one, we want all of the lines, so it's a little bit converse. For all of the colored fabric, I like to use the scissors. So that's what my personal preference is, but whatever works best for you, do that. You are also going to get some paperwork. First up, we have a colored version of the template. This does not have the black lines of caming on it because the important thing here is to see the color. You will be ironing all of the color first and then the black lines go on top. This color reference is how you're going to know which fabric the next piece is in. You can see at the top, all of the fabrics are printed as little swatches with names and numbers up at the top. I'll show you how that cross-referencing works in just a moment. You are also going to receive a number match sheet. This number match sheet is a printed version of all of the the laser cut fabrics. So it has the same layout of everything that's in the bag, and that's how you're going to find the correct piece. And then last but not least, you will get one more piece of paper in your document or in your kit. And it might look a little different. So I have two examples here depending on which version you get. They're both functionally the same, but it just depends on what materials I have available to me at the time that your kit is being made. The first version is, well, they're both the printed template, but one version might be on an oversized sheet of paper like you see here. The lines are extremely faint, and that is by intention. Once you iron your fabric to this template directly, we don't want those print lines showing through, like show through. So that's why they're extremely faint. You will be able to see them better in person, but they may not show up too well here on the camera. One version, as I said, could be printed on an oversized sheet of paper. The other version could be printed on an exactly 9x12 sheet. They're both going to be the exact same size, have the exact same pattern printed on them, the exact same numbers. There's not a difference other than the size of the paper. So it's whichever version you have, that's what you will be ironing to. But for today's demonstration, I will be ironing to the 9x12 specific version. If you have the larger version, you will iron to the outer edges of the design and then just trim off the excess either before your project, before you start, or at the very end. It is kind of up to you. We don't need any of the excess for today's project. But as I said, I will be working on this version for today. How does that cross-referencing work? You will be following the numbers. You will start with piece number 1, proceed to 2, and then 3, and then 4, 5, etc. until you get all the way to the end, which I think is 99 if I remember. Oh no, 104, 106. I think 106 might be the end for this project. I don't remember exactly because it's been a while since I actually designed it. But again, you're going to be going in order from 1, 2, 3 and proceeding all the way until there are no more pieces to put down. When you're ready to go get your next piece, let's say you're going to look for, let's say piece number 97 right here at the center top. To find out which color piece 97 is, we're going to refer back to the colored template. We see 97 up here at the top. 97 corresponds to the first value of green. So even though it's not green, it's in the green progression. So we're looking for green number 1. And now we can cross-reference to the number sheet. Green 1 is going to be over here on the right. And you can see there are 3 total pieces of fabric within green 1. So we're going to be looking for 97. Let's get that swatch out of our packet. And when you're doing this, you do not need to keep all of your swatches in the plastic bag. I've just kept them here to make sure everything stays in order until I'm ready to start. Okay, this is piece green 1, which I do understand looks yellow, but it's part of the green progression. So again, that's just how the naming convention works. That's why it's so important to reference your colored template. Okay, so I have it oriented the same way that the print is shown on the print. So I know 97 is here in the top left corner. That's the piece I'm going to need. And so I can take my fabric scissors or the craft knife, if that's your preference, and, snip these little tabs that are, I don't know if that's very visible on the camera. It's really tiny. There's just a little tab holding it in place right here. And another one on this side. We'll go ahead and snip. Actually, no, because I need it to be in place for when I get to this point in my own project. But you get the idea. You need to just snip it away from the rest of the fabric, and then you'll have it and you'll be able to iron it down onto your project. That's how that cross-referencing process works. For the rest of today, I'm not going to show how I do that for all of these pieces, just for the sake of keeping this instructional video as short as it possibly can be. Without further ado, let's get started putting together our very own fox kit. This is piece number 1. I'm going to turn my template around so that it's upside down. That's going to let me see this top edge a little bit clearer. And I am going to iron it directly to my template. There we go. First piece is done. Piece 2 is going to go down this right edge. So I'm going to put the top area in line and then just kind of use my tweezers to guide it. I'm following the template on the edge, the printed line that I can see. So we're going to just do that. And now on to piece number 3. We're basically going around and doing the total outer edge of this entire picture, and I'm going to kind of rotate my template so that I can keep seeing it clearly. And once again, I'm lining it up to the line that I can see, so which is along the inside edge. I did measure this particular piece of paper after I printed it. It's about 1/16 of an inch too long, so like it's 12 inches from top to bottom, but it's 12 inches plus 1/16 of an inch. It's not really going to matter for this, but if you're wondering why there's a big white line down here, that's why. For whatever reason, this was billed as a 9 by 12 sheet of paper, but it actually wound up being just a smidge longer than that. go. Get those. The very last border piece here is piece number 5. I'm going to line it up at the top. And then once again, just follow that printed line down to the bottom. And everything lines up perfectly. There we go. Piece 6 is this big one down here at the bottom with our darkest green color. Once again, I want to follow the visible print lines that I can see and make sure that the fabric is perfectly lined up with them. It's going to be extra careful in here because there's no other fabric to butt up to. So I'm just, again, making extra sure that my those little tips here are perfectly within their print lines. Everything lines up just so. Get the rest of it ironed in place. And there we go. 7 coming up this left side. Tuck it down in here in the bottom corner. And then once again, perfectly line it up with all of those, that print line that goes the whole length of the piece, because it's this big, tall, vertical piece, just like that. If you have a little bit of white showing, don't worry about it. It's not going to be a problem because remember, we've got those black lines of caning that are going to go on top. So the part that you should try and be the most precise about is putting, this is piece number 8, by the way, is putting the fabric onto the template and matching that printed line. We're going to do that on this right side now, mirroring what we just put down on the left all the way up. There you go. Just like that. And now number 9 is going to be this curve at the top. So once again, I'm going to turn my template around so I can see it a little easier. Let's start on this right side. Get that lined up. Iron it in place. Guide it around just like this. It pays to be patient. So the precision is much more important than the speed in this process. So take your time. Make sure you're very carefully following those printed lines. Now I wound up with a little bit of overlap over here. It's not a problem. I probably pulled the fabric a little bit as I was getting it ironed in place. Not a problem. You won't even be able to see it once we get the black on top. And once again, don't worry about any little gaps. It's going to be fine by the time we get to the end and put those black lines on top. Piece number 10 is going to be in our first orange piece, and it's going to be in this bottom left corner. Get that ironed into place just like that. There we go. 11 is another piece of the tail. It's our orange number 2 fabric, and it's going to fit in just like that. Heat, iron it in place. Very good. Now on to piece number 12, which is going to be from the darkest blue. It might not be as dark as printed on the template, but it is the darkest blue, and it's interestingly labeled white number 3. That's the fabric that it's in, white 3. So even though it's a blue fabric, it's labeled white 3, and that's because it's the shadow for the white progression fabric. But it's going to fit right into there. And then piece 13 is going to go just above it, also from that same white 3 fabric. We're going to iron it into place. Now we have 14, which is going to be from the white number 1 fabric. It is the actually white fabric in this kit, and it's going to fit in right there at the tip of the tail. Go ahead and iron. There we go. 15 and 16 are both going to be out of the white 2 fabric. They're going to finish up the white tip of our fox's tail over here on the left side. That was 15. Here's 16, and it's going to go just above where 15 slipped into place. Right in there, get that iron. Okay, very good. And here we go with 17 to finish off the tail. It is going to be from the orange number 1 fabric, which shows as a brilliant yellow on the template. This fabric that I'm using, that's part of the kit, is not quite as completely yellow. It's a little bit more, has some orangish to it, which is appropriate for an orange fox. So and that, again, that fabric might be different depending on which version of this kit you have. But as of this iteration, we're using a slightly more orange, although the lightest orange that's in this kit. Moving on to number 18. This is out of the green 5 fabric. Slip it into place just here. Get that iron very carefully. Good. Now we've got 19. It's this tiny little orange piece. It's out of the orange 3 fabric. It's just going to fill this little corner down here. just like that. 20 is also going to come from the orange 3 fabric. It's going to go kind of flipping on its own here, a little bit more to the right. That ironed in place. Very good. Moving on to 22 is going to be our big orange piece here. It's from the orange 2 fabric, and put it into place, fitting over those 2 other darker orange pieces that we just put in place. I'm going to iron it along the bottom and then use my tweezers to make sure the top edge is aligned up appropriately with those other, with the print lines along the template, and then further use my tweezers just to hold these points where they are supposed to go. Everything lined up correctly, just like that. 23 is going to fill this little gap right down here. That, iron it in place. Good. Turns out I forgot piece 21, which is this green piece that goes along the far right side. Whoops. So fortunately, this process is very forgiving. It's okay to go a little bit out of order as long as we're following the printed template lines, because everything will still fit into place. Let's go ahead and get 21 ironed down, and then we'll proceed back on track with 24. We've already done 21 and 22 and 23. 24 is going to fit into this gap. It is out of the lightest orange fabric, orange number 1, and 25 is going to join it, filling this gap right along the edge of the tail, also from the same fabric. So another big piece here with 26. It's going to fit into this space just like that. Once again, I'm going to use my tweezers to make sure that we are correctly lining up to those print lines. That is critical. Just go along, making sure that I'm holding everything in place where it's supposed to be, and for the most part, it should fit in the gap that was left by the other pieces of fabric. There we go. 27 is going to be out of the white 3 fabric, and it's going to go right in here. Now, as it's going to fit into the gaps left on the right side, but it does have this big long piece sticking up on the left. So I'm going to start there, hold it in place where it's supposed to go. All right, and once that's anchored in place with the fusible, I can come back and get the rest of it ironed correctly down. There we go. 28 is going to be from orange 3, and it's going to in right along, just like that. Head, iron it in place, and I'll correct what's going on down here. It looks like it's stretching a little bit. Just want to make sure we're not overlapping anything else, appropriately filling the gap it's supposed to be in. There we go. Now we're doing 29, which is going to be from green 5, and it fits in over here on the left. Grab my tweezers, even though it's kind of a big piece. Just don't want to run the risk of burning myself. So I have done that, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's not fun. And then we've got 30, which is gonna slip in right here, just like that. Iron 31 comes from green 4, and it fits in right along here on the left side. Let's go ahead and get that ironed down. Very good. Gonna keep progressing up along the left side with this piece number 32. I'm gonna slip it in place there, and then again use my tweezers to make sure that the top is following those printed template lines perfectly. Right along there, continuing to the right, and then down and get all of it held in place with the fusible. All right, 33. Gonna fit right in there, and let's get that ironed down. Very good. Before, we've got our first piece from the green 3 fabric, and it fits in right there. Get that ironed down. Good to go. 35 is from orange number 1, or from orange 1 fabric. It fits in like that. Very, very good. Using those tweezers, make sure we're following those lines. 36 is going to begin the left side of the box here. And it's going to fit into these other pieces that we just ironed down. So while I am making sure that the left side fits in, I'm paying more attention to where these lines are printed on the right side, because again, that is the more critical thing to line up. We really need to make sure we're following those printed guidelines. 37 from orange 3, and it also continues building up the left side of the box, sliding into place right along here. Iron very carefully right along here like this, making sure that tip fits in right into that little notch along the darker blue. Switching back to the right side for piece number 38, it's going to fit in right along here. We'll start with ironing the left. Make sure we're following those guidelines. Everything's looking very good. Get the whole thing ironed in place. Move move on piece 39, which is going to go right in here, just like that. Very good. 40 is going to start the back of the fox on the right side. It's going to fit into place right along that curve that we just built up in the green. Make sure that we're lining up the left side, because that's where we see the printed lines. There we go. 41 is going to come from orange 2, and it's going to fit in this gap that we had, as well as some extra fur along the left side. So let's do that. Sure we're following these printed guides. Now I'll come back in and make sure everything fits where it's supposed to amongst the rest of the fabric we have ironed down. Here we go. 42 is going to be from white 1, and it's going to be in the fox's white chest. I'm going to fit it into the other fabric we've got here along the right side, ironed in place. And then 43 comes from white 2, and it fits into this little chevron right along it, ironed in place as well. 44 is going to come from orange 3, and to iron it in place right along here. 45 is this tiny little blue piece, and it's going to be a point right along here. 46 is going to be from white 2, and it's going to be this big piece in the center up here, ironed in place, this bottom part held in place. Make sure we're once again following those printed template lines. And right along here, and all of these pieces of fur, get all that ironed in place. Here we go with 47, right in here, also from the white 3 fabric. Get that right into all those little notches and iron. Very good. 48 is going to be over here on the left side of the fox's mustache. And here we go. All held in place with fusible. Very good. 49 is the fox's mustache. That put in place. It's from white 1. And I'm going to start on the left side and work my way across, making sure we're following those printed template lines. Back to green for a moment for 50. It's from green 3. It's going to fill this little gap that we have on the right. You've got 51 over here on the right, also from the same green 3. We're going to go ahead and get these ironed into place along the left side. Make sure I'm holding them there, lining up those template lines. And then we'll come down here and I'll make sure that we're filling these gaps, just like that. Finish up the green 4 fabric with piece number 52. Then right along here, I'm going to notch it in, and the left side looks good as well. So we will just iron that down as is. Very good. 53 is going to be on the left side, also out of green 3. That looks really good. So we'll iron it down, starting at the top, matching those lines, and then working our way down, making sure we fill it. 4 is going to be over here on the left, get it right into place. It's from orange 2. And there we go. 55 is going to be a little bit further up. It's out of orange 1. Get it put in place up here, making sure I'm matching those printed lines on the right side. Very good. 56 is going to be from orange 3, and it's going to start the fox's shadowing around his eyes. I'm going to get this left side held in place just so I have an anchor point, and then very carefully line up the right side along those printed guidelines. 57 is tricky to see, but it's actually the fox's eyeball. And I need to make sure I've got this eye oriented correctly. That looks pretty good to me. It's just going to fit in there just like that. 58 is this orange piece that's going to go in the middle of his whole face. It's kind of crazy. A lot of jagged edges. So we're going to be really, really careful about getting it into place. And I'm going to start with, because I'm using my iron on my left hand, I'm going to start with what's up here on the left and just go a little by little, making sure everything is lining up as it should be. I don't want anything to be misplaced. Carefully going along, making sure we're matching all of these lines. Just like that. And there we go. Now we've got the whole thing in place. It's all lined up correctly. 59 is the top of the fox's nose from orange 1 down here. Good. 60 and 61 are going to be from orange 3, and they're the shadows on the left and right side of his nose, respectively. So that was 60 we just put in place. Here's 61 for the right side, and it fits in just like that. Very good. 62 is from orange 2, and it's going to fill in the right side of the fox's cheek, just like that. We've got 63, which is the right eye's shadow. I'm gonna iron it in place there and then make sure this point on the right side is good. 64 is gonna fill in this gap just here. Should just perfectly fit into place like that. And just make sure that with the tweezers that there's no overlapping happening. And then we can move on to 65, which is the fox's eye. You want to make sure you got that oriented correctly. So turn it around if you have to. It should perfectly fit into place without overlapping any of the other orange. 66 is going to be his left eyebrow. It's from white 1. It should fit just in there. And then we've got 67, which will be, I'm sorry, did I say right? Left eyebrow. 67 is the right eyebrow. There we go. Get those ironed in. 68 is the crown of his head and his forehead. There, and looking good. 69 fills out his orange forehead on the left. Go. 70 does the same on the right. Here, get that iron. Very good. 71 is this little white piece on the edge of his ear on the left side here. That's from white 1. Do that. And then matching it on the other side is 72. That right in there. Good. Right in there. 73 is our first piece from green 2, which is actually a kind of a lemon yellow. And it put in place. 74 is also from green 2, and it's going to mirror on the opposite side. Iron that in place. Remember to be following those lines on the template. 75 is going to be from white 2. It's this light blue fabric forming the interior of our fox's ear. And 76 is similarly going to mirror it on the right side. Match up those template lines. Get everything ironed in place. Now we've got 77 filling this gap right down here from white number 3. And then 78, same thing on the other side. Make sure it fits in right in there. Very good. 79 is from white 1. It's going to finish the top of the fox's ear. We'll iron in place like that. And then 80 on the other side will be the last piece of the fox. Now we just have to finish the sky. That's all that is ironed in place. 81 is going to perfectly slot along the fox's crown and his ears. That iron in place. And now I'm going to once again just use my tweezers to make sure we are fully lined up to those template lines. It's really, really critical to follow those. And almost done. There we go. Okay. All of that iron in place. 82 out of green 2 over here on the left. Should fit right into that little slot. It in place. 83 will mirror it on the other side. Fill in just like that. 84. This little triangle right up top. Whoops, it upside down for a moment. Go. 84. 85 is going to be over here on the left, down in that corner. It's from orange 3. 86 is also from orange 3, and it's going to fill in right along there. Iron all of that in place. 87 goes over here on the left. It's going to fit in along this curve that we built, and it's from orange 2. Just like that. 88 is from orange 1, and it's going to go right along the curve like that. 89, it's not that piece. Moving upwards, we've got 89 from orange 3, just like that. Then 90 from orange 2 on the left side of the curve. Iron in place. 93, or I'm sorry, 91 from orange 1. Go right here, and I'm going to match up lines. Make sure that 92 will fit before getting the rest of that piece ironed in place. Got 92, which will fit right into that gap, surrounded by 91. Good. 93 is going to go right up here. Let's get it in place. And then the right edge is going to meet this lighter yellow piece we put in place earlier. We've got 94 right here. Fit into that gap. Very good. 95. Moving right along, going to fit right into this notch, and I'll hold it there with the tweezers. I'll get the rest ironed down. 96 is going to go right up here along the top. Yeah, push it into place with the tweezers. 92, 97 is going to be right up here in the center. That I'll get the iron. Very good. Then we've got 98. Which is going to fit in that notch. Carefully going to hold it on the iron. Good. Now back to 99. Mirror the opposite side of the top of this curve here. Put in there and iron down. And now we've got 100. Go here and hold it, iron, very good. 101 fits in right there, just like that. Very good. Coming down the right side of the curve, we've got 102. Hold it there in the home stretch. 103, right along there. Good. 104 is going to be this large piece right there. Place 105 right here, making sure I'm following this line just like that. And last but not least, we've got 106, just going to be right along here, just like that. Okay, that's going to do it for all of the colored fabrics for this box. Now it's on to the caning. I'm going to set this to the side for now and get my cutting mat and the knife. It's time to cut all of the little pieces out of the caning, and just so that I can see it more clearly, I'm actually going to be cutting from the back. All done. These scraps can all get tossed out. We don't need any of these, so throw them out. We're also finished with the cutting board and the craft knife. You can set those to the side. Now you need to very, very carefully peel the paper backing off of this. And I do that just by carefully crimping the edge, and then the paper is going to want to separate on its own. So very carefully. It should separate very easily, but just do it carefully so you don't accidentally rip some of these really delicate pieces of fabric. I'm going to kind of use my hand to flatten it down. Very carefully pull the paper off of the back. There we go. Just like that. All right. Now, carefully move it to the side. Bring back your colored template with all the fabric on it that we just worked on. And now this is going to go on top. It's very wiggly, as you can see. Okay, tweezers back is going to be a very important part of the project. And what I like to do is usually just start in the top left corner, and I'm rotating it so that I can see it a little bit better. I'm going to start in the top left corner and kind of wiggle the whole sheet into place kind of as I go. That's pretty good right there. And you see how all of those little white gaps are now filled up by the black, or they're covered by the black? Yeah, that's why it's not worth worrying about them while we're putting this together. This actually is looking really good, except for the top here. I'm going to use my tweezers to just a smidge up. Okay, just to get started, I'm going to pull this corner. I'm perfectly matching the edge of my template up with the fabric that's on there, up to this caming. I'm going to just lock this corner in place, and then I'm going to rotate again. I want to lock the top in place, and I rotated it just so I can see it a little better. Right along this upper edge. There we go. Get all this in place. All right, and the rest of it should pretty much fall in place at this point because the top is in a fixed position. Let me see. I'm going to hold it up so that I can see it and just make sure everything looks good. It does. Sometimes it's hard to tell looking down, but okay, I'm going to be careful about this spot right here because that looks like there might be a gap. Just because of human error, me not putting down the fabric perfectly, to be a little extra careful. All right, everything is looking really good to me. I don't see anything obvious that should be covered up that is not. So I'm going to iron down the center, and I'm tweaking just a little bit down here just to make sure that those black lines or those white lines get covered up. Just doing a little bit of whatever the ironing equivalent of fussy cutting is. Fussy ironing? Is that a thing? I don't know. Feels like it is. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Now let's make sure this corner is perfectly lined up. Grab it with my tweezers. Good. These long straight edges do have a tendency to want to wiggle, so do your best to get them perfectly straight and don't allow them to wobble on you. Okay. We are in good shape. All right, I'm just going to do a final pass with my iron and make sure that everything is really, really well tacked down. Over on this side, I'm not applying a lot of pressure with my iron. I'm kind of just lifting it and then moving it because I don't want to stretch out the fabric. Okay, I think we are in very good shape. And then I mentioned at the beginning that there's like this a 16th of an inch of white paper. Just get a pair of paper scissors and just manually cut that off, or use your craft knife, or just leave it, because when you mount this and frame it up to hang it, that might get covered up by a mat anyway. The last thing I want to mention to you in this video is how to mount and hang this picture to display. You will need a custom mat, but you will not need a custom frame. So this mat is a standard 12 by 16 inch size. So it's 12 inches wide by 16 inches tall. The reason you will need a custom one is for two reasons. First, this mat has what's called a black core. So if I move it, just move this for a second. Do you see how on the white it looks like it has a black outline? This mat has what's called a black core. The filling in this mat is black, even though the mat itself is white. So if I flip it over, you can see that it's black because it's actually that's the black core. This is my preferred mat style for these stained glass pictures because they hide the fact that the edge of the picture is black. The reason you need this custom is because your local framer might not have this mat in stock, and they'll need to custom order it and then do the custom cutout for you. But it's a standard 12 by 16 size. So once you get your mat cut, you can just get a standard frame and not need anything custom. A standard 12 by 16 inch frame is going to work just fine. I recommend this mat because there's no obvious gap. That black core blends in seamlessly with the black edge, the black outline of the caming. And so it's just a little visually more appealing. That's specifically why I personally prefer this style of mat. So that's my recommendation, but you're of course welcome to do whatever you like and whatever works best for you. I hope you enjoyed this project, and thank you so much for following along.